Thunderbolts, it's weird. It's a weird movie in a lot of ways because you think like you have a ton of Disney Plus characters in it. I mean, you do have Florence Pugh.
Pugh.
Ooh, Pugh.
I like her.
I like her. You do have her. She's a movie star.
Yep, she is.
But you also have a bunch of Disney Plus characters. You have the villain from Ant-Man and the Wasp, which nobody's watched. And, David Harbour's obviously really talented.
It's from the Black Widow movie.
Which was shown during COVID, which most people watched digitally. It was kind of a mess. Yeah, I mean, it's basically got a lot of Black Widow DNA in this movie. But
in my opinion, there are two Marvel properties you must watch before you watch Thunderbolts. And one, it would be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and one would be Black Widow movie. Otherwise, I don't think anything would resonate with you.
Yeah. And so, okay, describe what this movie is. It's
some kind of Suicide Squad.
It's some suicide, which it really isn't. Like, I don't know about you, but I didn't get Suicide Squad vibes from actually watching it.
It felt like they originally wrote a Suicide Squad movie and then they edited it down. My big criticism of this movie is I don't think it balances the characters well. There's 5 of them. 5 of them.
5 of them.
There was 5 of them. It took 5 of them.
There's, I think 5, right? So there's Ghost from Ant-Man, David Harbour as the Red Guardian from Black Widow. There's Florence Pugh, Black Widow's sister, Yelena. What's her, does she have a superhero name, Yelena?
I think it's Black Widow. She's Black Widow.
Yeah, she's just Black Widow. Okay, great. There's a U.S. Agent, which is kind of the anti-hero version of Captain America. He was selected to be the new Captain America in Falcon and Winter Soldier before Sam Wilson became the real Captain America.
And then he fell from grace. Yeah.
And he's actually a super soldier because in that show he took super soldier serum. And then there's Bucky. Bucky just kind of shows back up. And the plot is that they're all lonely and depressed.
Yeah, and they're all working for Elaine from Seinfeld. She uses them as kind of like a cleanup crew for all of her nefarious tasks.
She's basically like an anti-hero Nick Fury.
Yeah, she works for CIA, but she does a lot of shady stuff, and she uses these. The movie calls them losers and makes a big show of it.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Losers. It's not Suicide Squad per se, but it is. I mean, she's Amanda Waller, is she not? And Guardians of the Galaxy, that kind of is a Suicide. I mean, James Gunn went on to make a Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, yes, it's very much that, but for me, it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, they're all sent. She wants to clean up all the loose ends of this because she's getting impeached for something. So she sends them all to a facility, which is going to basically kill them all. Because she's sending each of them after each other, basically.
Yeah. And they're like, you're not my target. You are my target. And this sort of thing.
And the whole facility was going to incinerate them. But then they've run into this test experiment there, Bob, and they were all able to escape there before. Played by Pullman.
Bill Pullman's son. That's all I need to say
Louis
about him.
Pullman, who was in a very awful remake of Salem's Lot on HBO Max.
I tell you, man, that is Bill Pullman's son, all right.
Oh, he definitely looks like it. He sounds like it sometimes. And there's some when he does, especially when he's Sentry and he's doing the squinting, you're like, man, I'm watching Independence Day right now.
Today. They've got weird. Let me try again. There we are. Yeah, man, they say that you can, you always know your mother, but that is Bill Pullman's fucking son. It's and of course you were like, oh, the Nepo babies did a good job, because the other one is a U.S. agent is played by Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son.
Yes, and
it's quite a thing to have the progeny of 2 massive, very well known actors, because it's kind of like a shortcut to to connection in a weird way. I'm like, oh, I know your dads.
I know your dads.
I've been watching your dads since I was a kid.
Of the group, Ghost they don't do anything with Ghost.
Not one fucking thing.
Not one thing. She's literally
just there.
She's just there. They don't, because in the process of this, they get their own little shame backstories, but she doesn't. And she doesn't even get any sort of like, character moments like at all.
So if we're counting, if we have 5 main Thunderbolts characters, one already is not a character and should be like I Am Groot has more fucking character than her, like by a lot, actually.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then Wyatt Russell's character, he has some stuff, but it's not that fleshed out. It's
well, they tell you about him. They, he had this divorce and whatever. He's kind of like a disgraced guy, but they don't do anything with. There's no arc. There's no through line. He doesn't have a story in this movie.
Yeah, and Bucky shows up and he does some heroic stuff, but he's like, "Oh, I got my stuff figured out," or he like has a line like that.
He doesn't have, because his arc was in the TV show, so he doesn't have an arc either. So he has no story. Okay, we're running out of people for this movie to be about.
And they kill Taskmaster right away.
Is she dead?
Yeah, they shoot her in the head.
Oh wow. I must have looked at my phone right at that moment.
Yeah, no, because she's part of when they're all going to the facility. And Ghost actually shoots her in the head, like immediately. Like she's dead,
right.
Like,
I think she was supposed to be part of the Thunderbolts, right? And then I heard something about she and Ghost were supposed to have a whole thing, and instead they cut the whole fucking thing out. And
I couldn't tell because I thought that was supposed to happen, but it's definitely she dies right away, so she's gone. And so the movie really is just Black Widow's story or Yelena's story.
Yeah, and her dad, Red Guardian is comic relief, and he's good comic relief. I mean, he's very funny. It was clear to me that he was improvising his ass off in this movie, and I was enjoying it for sure. He's a star. I like him.
And he lifts Yelena up and when she's like low. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, those moments work. Cheap, you feel them.
It works because they're both good actors.
So when I'm like halfway through the movie, now they got to escape this facility. They've got to survive. So this misfit crew of anti-heroes with morally gray,
have to band together to fight a god.
They're gonna have to figure out some way to be a team.
A superhero team.
I'm
a superhero.
So anyway, Elaine from Seinfeld, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, reveals that Bob, this test subject, who is depressed, right? He's a depressed person.
He's a former meth addict. He was abused. Yeah. He's basically Arthur Fleck, but
yeah, it would have been great if it just was Arthur Fleck from the DC universe.
they did experiments on him to make him like a god. So
yeah, so he's like more powerful than everybody. We're back to that kind of thing. And when they revealed him to be more powerful than anybody, it like immediately brought to mind like all the power scaling where I was like, okay, so more powerful than Hulk. I guess I can believe that. What about like Adam from Guardians 3? Or what about like, remember the chick who had all the powers of the Avengers at the end of like Secret Agent?
Yeah. Khaleesi.
Yeah. I was like,
and she had the big weird arm.
Famously, she had Drax's little arm.
Had tattoos on it for some reason. It's fucking stupid.
Piece of shit.
She disappeared. Most powerful being in the universe, and she
flew away forever. I used to have, when I was in elementary school, Keith, who was on Junt's Nest, he had an older brother who was kind of funny. He was, like if you have a friend with an older brother, he makes you laugh. And I remember he would always do like rich fiction, or he'd be like, "Oh my god, and what if like Undertaker just showed up and like tombstoned everybody, and then Vegeta from he comes in and
it's like a Newgrounds cartoon or whatever, where they have like Sonic fighting Vegeta."
Those were always his jokes, and we started to make fun of the fact that he was making those jokes, and so our version of the joke became, and then Undertaker tombstones and Vegeta flies away forever. It always ended with Vegeta flies away forever. I haven't thought about that in a long time, but when I said that Khaleesi flew away forever, I was like Vegeta.
Like Vegeta.
Anyway. Vegeta flies away forever.
Oh, it's such a fucking weird.
And Undertaker comes in and Kane tombstones him, and then Vegeta flies away forever.
I'm just picturing Khaleesi with Vegeta's hairline.
I feel like you didn't expect me to say Vegeta today. I feel like that's half the comedy.
Yeah, that's half the comedy.
Like, why is Frankie talking about Vegeta?
But yeah, and it's mixing it with WWE is
Yeah.
very funny.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you're out there, hey, maybe through the power of the dreaded AI, you could make Josh Sadek's cartoon at long last. Anyway, so Century becomes all powerful. The idea now is that she's basically going to be guarded by a god. She'll become unimpeachable, and she'll be in charge of the world's security, something like that. And then he starts basically Thanosing people out of existence. Like he does like a snap basically that causes them.
Because he's got like, he's like schizophrenic. So he's got his hero side, but then he like, when he despairs, he becomes this dark void. And he becomes despair incarnate basically.
So he becomes Dark Link.
Yeah. I thought that effect was cool. And
yeah,
I thought
that was cool.
The characterization.
I mean, one of the things that the movie had going for it, aside, I would say the good actors because it had like 4 of them. It had not quite 5 of them.
There was
not quite
5 of them. It took 5 of them.
But it had a Bucky, Florence, Red Guardian, and Wyatt Russell. So I mean, right off the bat, like I liked spending time with those.
I thought Louis Pullman had a very good presence.
Yeah, very unique.
Like even when he's like Sentry and like he's like, oh, so I'm like a god, and she's like, I'm not. Didn't really say that. He's like, well, you said I was like all the Avengers, and that contains at least one god. That's pretty cool.
Up to this point, I would say like the movie felt like a movie. Like I can give it like as opposed to all of these films we've seen in recent years where it feels like they shot it 3 years ago during the height of their worst decision making.
Yeah.
And then they spent 2 more years reshooting, de-woking, refocus grouping, canceling Kang and being like, how do we make this work without the Kang lead in? I feel like every time I watch a Marvel movie or anything, I'm watching like some Frankenstein of like, oh, we had to release it.
What does this monstrosity cost?
Jerry, what's the sticker price? It's that $380 million.
I feel less with this. I see the seams less, and it definitely seems like it was probably cut down. But I don't feel like it doesn't seem like it's always like betraying itself all the time, or it's like different visions that have to be cobbled. Like Captain America 4 was a horrible hodgepodge goblin. It's
very
like,
good example of what I'm talking about. Yeah. Or sometimes it was, I remember Black Widow felt like, cause like, that's not half a bad movie, but I remember half of it, the dialogue sequences and character sequences felt like it was made by an indie Sundance director. Right. And then the action felt like it was made by the previs department at Marvel. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think that's like precisely what that movie is.
Yes.
So you walk away from the movie remembering like, when Red Guardian and Florence Pugh were singing American Pie, and you're like, oh, that was a cool scene, or the dinner scene, or whatever. And you're like, oh, I remember that. And then you think about like the act, like Florence Pugh, like getting prevised out of the frame, in that action scene at the end. So yeah, there's definitely like a visual tonal consistency problem with a lot of these movies that this movie has less of. It felt like the whole movie was the movie they meant to make. However, whatever. They end up having a therapy session with the guy at length. They trauma dump. Mostly Florence Pugh is able to do that. It affects none of the other characters as far as I remember.
Really? Yeah, no. Like I said, I joked that Bucky makes a joke. It's like, oh, I already solved my problem, so my shame room was a no thing.
I mean, Bucky straight up shouldn't be in the movie. Like, I like seeing him. It's nice and all. I'm glad he is willing to take a paycheck still. But you shouldn't have a character just tacked on. And then he's like the third one that's tacked on.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a team movie.
Yeah.
And the whole point of what makes a team movie strong? I would say the fuel of a team movie is that every character in the team has an arc and they all have really well-defined characters. Guardians of the Galaxy is, maybe like the prototypical, like it's kind of perfect in a way where it stays with you. when they say, hey, we're all losers, and you laugh a little bit, well, it's like they earned that joke by that point in the movie.
Exactly.
This is more like, imagine if we were all losers.
I've been in the trenches of every war-torn country on this planet, rescued God knows how many hostages, and shook the hands of 2 U.S. presidents. What else? Oh, high school state football champs, back to back to back, go Bears.
The audience has to do too much work to get there.
Yeah.
And then, so whatever, they conquer him, spoilers, and he kind of becomes part of their team, even though he's basically the Hulk, right? Because he has to be depressed in order to have his powers.
Well, because to use his powers, he risks becoming the Void.
Right. And Elaine is like, oh, I'd like to, to save her own skin. She introduces them to the world as the new Avengers. And then in an after credit sequence, they're like, oh, wait, Sam Wilson has Avengers and we're just new Avengers. And maybe for copyright reasons, we need to do Avengers with a Z. Teehee.
And then the Fantastic Four ship.
They see Fantastic Four in a spaceship or something. I think we already know these characters are going to be in Doomsday.
They were on the chairs. All of the actors were on the chairs except for the Taskmaster. So we knew she was going to die.
Dead. These are characters that I would like to see pop up again, and maybe somebody can do better with it. But dude, if the Russos can balance 50 character arcs in Infinity War,
Yeah.
could you fucking manage 5?
And they only barely got one out of here.
Pretty sloppy. Yeah, and I don't even really know what Florence Pugh's arc is.
She's just sad, and then she was less sad, maybe. I don't know.
And the Russian accent, it definitely is good for comic relief. It's a lot to overcome.
And she's also way different in this movie. You remember in Black Widow, she's very silly.
Yeah.
Or Hawkeye, she's talking about mac and cheese or whatever. It's she had a little more pizzazz to her, I think.
Well, because she kind of had to lead. She is the lead of this movie, I would say.
She is the lead, but it kind of betrays her previous performances, I would say.
Another thing I liked about this movie, they got the team together at the end of the first act. It was pretty quick. They didn't fuck around because you could imagine a worse version of this movie where they're not even all together until a certain point in the film.
I mostly did not like Elaine from Seinfeld doing the Veep thing the whole time with her assistant. The assistant was awful.
She's still hot though at age 80.
Oh yeah, she's good looking. I'm not. I just don't like the shtick.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the mental health stuff to me felt kind of trite and goofy.
It was very surface level. I was seeing so many tweets when this came out, which they must be AstroTurf because they all say the same thing. It was finally somebody a Marvel movie takes mental health seriously, and it's every single tweet is saying this. I'm and then I see the movie, I'm bull fucking shit. This barely it was so surface level. It was
if you want a cartoonish depiction.
Yeah, and Bob at the end, he's I just have to not use my powers and I won't be sad. It's that has nothing to do with mental health.
Yeah. Actually, I think the only character arc in the whole movie was Sentry. He's the main thrust of this thing. Small nitpick, because this has been true of movies for the last 20 years at least. How come every time they need a lady ninja, a Black Widow type character to beat up a big guy, they always have her doing the Hurricane Rana from wrestling? So that's when you flip around, you put your legs between, around their head, and then you flip them with the, I guess, momentum of your own 90-pound body.
Because anything else would look ridiculous.
It's the only move that's I guess so.
Yeah. Because you can't take a 5 foot 4 person and make it.
They got to come up with other moves besides the Hurricane Rana. That's all I'm saying.
It's definitely a mid movie.
Yeah.
It's in Thor Dark World tier, and I think that's exactly perfect.
Yeah.
It's early Marvel, you wouldn't kick it out of bed, but it's not igniting your world on fire. And maybe it's kind of bad in most parts. But
well, we weren't offended by, I don't think we were offended by Thor the Dark World back when it came out, because there's a lot of good around it and it wasn't that bad. Right. So it's both of those things make it so that it's worth, that's the thing is if you're going to watch a story that plays out across TV and movies, across a decade, 2 decades, you're going to want everything to be good enough so that nothing feels oh, man, I got to slog through this shit. You only want the very occasional bad movie or show, because otherwise you're what the fuck is this worth? And yeah, I think more often than not with Marvel these days, you're watching something shitty just so that you can maybe someday understand a movie that's good.
Yeah.
And that's, people have decided that ain't worth it.
Yeah, and there's definitely nothing around this movie that is worthwhile. So when you're left with this being kind of the quote unquote best thing, it's like, where are we going here? I can kind of see it because, like, the new Avengers, from what I understand, none of these are in the new Avengers comics. So I think what they did is like, which actors do we have that are like passably like up and coming? So obviously Florence Pugh is a movie star. She's got to be in it. And then David Harbour is a good personality. We have him. He has to be in there. And then Wyatt Russell's obviously got charisma. So it's like, we have to have him in there. It's like, that's what it feels like. It feels like, who do we have that we can put in this movie?
The movie star and the rest are here on
Thunderbolts Island.
Just you need a better screenplay, guys. Like, you're halfway there with the good actors.
Yeah.
There's a scene when Sentry is like he's seeing his past, and I think it's like his father was abusing his mother at dinner time. Do you remember the scene?
Yeah.
I wrote a note in my notepad that says "Dinner ready is pizza." So do you remember that there was a PSA
Yes.
about kids? Yes, about the dad was abusing the mom, but it was all off camera, and you just see the child at the top of the stairs listening to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what hurts. That's what hurts, or something like that.
That's what hurts. That's what hurts.
And
it's like pizza again.
he goes, I thought I asked for dinner ready. Dinner ready is pizza.
Dinner ready is pizza.
And that stuck with me to this day. Nina and I say it to each other all the time. If she's like, so sometimes she'll make pizza, like homemade pizza, and I'll come in, I'll be like, dinner ready is pizza. I remember some genius back in 2004 or something took that commercial, and right when he's like slapping her and yelling about pizza, it cuts to like, now at Domino's, get the $5.99 for 2 pizzas.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, so I was like, this is the backstory for Century. Dinner ready is pizza.
And like, and it's kind of solved in a stupid way because there's like in the shame room they like punch his dad. It's like, what is this?
Cheesy.
It's cheesy,
Like a pizza.
like a pizza. So it takes mental health really serious.
There was in the trailer, they did that thing where they make epic, an 80s or 90s or 70s pop song. And in this case, it was, and we can build this dream together, standing strong together. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And I was like, when's that song gonna pop into this movie? And it was like on in the background in the supermarket in the after credits scene with the Wheaties box. I was like, come on, give me the fucking thing. Because I actually love that song. I love it, I think, because there's a movie called Skeleton Twins that everybody should see because it's a great movie. It's about Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig plays his sister. He's an alcoholic or drug addict or something like that. He plays her brother. And so he has to live with them. Oh, he's suicidal. That's what it is. And so he's living with them while they're kind of like, she's married to Luke Wilson. And there's a scene where he's trying to cheer, the Bill Hader's trying to cheer her up. And he starts playing that song. And they let the whole thing play out with Bill Hader, like, like lip syncing to it, while Kristen Wiig just like sits there, like annoyed by him. And that doesn't sound that funny, right? But except Bill Hader has great physicality. And then there's kind of a moment where you think that she's not going to break, and she's just staring at him, and finally she's like, and they think we're crazy. She joins in. Kristen Wiig I actually think she's fantastic. And it's a shame that she, as far as fucking superhero movies go, that she had to play Cheetah or Lioness or whatever the hell she was in Wonder Woman 2. Do you remember this?
Oh my God. Yeah.
She's or it's a shame that Ghostbusters happened, but I think, Bridesmaids and, she's been in some incredible stuff. Yeah, she's great.
I couldn't help thinking because the end of the movie takes place in New York and the Void is like putting everyone in the shame room. I was like picturing the Kingpin. He's mayor of New York, right? So is he going into his shame room? Like I was, and where
That's funny.
Do you want to see what hurts? That's what hurts! That's what hurts!
Oh, please.
Want to know what doesn't hurt?
This week, carry out large 2-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each, only at Domino's.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.